And it's great to have Tommy Lloyd on the stage with us to begin today, Don. And Coach, welcome.
Great to be here.
It's great to have you. As we're just, for you, less than 2 weeks away from your first exhibition game. How are you feeling about your team?
I feel great. It's a long off season, which was good in a lot of respects. It really kind of allowed me time to continue my growth as a coach. And, I know I'm at a special place, and I know I carry a huge responsibility, and that comes with that. And but I'm excited. I'm excited about the group of guys we have. It's been fun, watching them kind of grow as a team, and obviously we still have a lot of work to do like everybody else, but I think we got a lot of the right pieces, and now we just got to put it together and get challenged and go through some adversity, and hopefully the outcome will be good.
Speaking of adversity, you've been phenomenal the first 2 years, 61 wins, disappointing loss last year, first round of the tournament. Talking to people around your program, reading stuff in the offseason, you talked about toughness and how toughness needs to be more part of the fabric of your program. Talk about how you're implementing that and how that's going to help you guys be even better, especially in the postseason.
Well, I mean, toughness can be kind of a catch-all term. And, I've never felt that we're soft. I think we play a very aggressive, physical style of basketball. But, at the end of the day, you get in a single elimination tournament, and toughness comes in lots of form. It could be, could be sticking to a game plan. It could be obviously if the physical things you think come with dominating the point and dominating the glass and things like that. But I think it's important. I think if the first thing I thought after that Princeton game is I need to increase our margin for error, and to me, toughness is a way that you do that. And if you want to be competitive in these games, sometimes you got to be able to physically dominate your opponent. And so, we're gonna strive for that. We know it's going to be challenging. We know other teams fight back really hard. And so, yeah, I mean, I think, toughness is a cornerstone of our program. And I think for us to be able to make sure, when you get to March, that you're able to be successful. I mean, toughness has to be a key element of everything we do.
All right, Coach, we may have some more questions for you, but we're going to send it over to Jesse Hooker now, and he'll call on some members of the media.
Okay, if any media have any questions, please raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone. We'll go to Willie Ramirez on my right in the front row.
Coach, good morning. Willie Ramirez from the Associated Press. You have some decent heavyweights on your non-conference schedule. What are some immediate things you're looking for out of your team in terms of tweaking and that you want to correct if there are corrections to be made when you play those opponents?
Well, there's going to be corrections, and the reason you play opponents like that is because they're going to expose you, and to me that's part of the fun is trying to figure it out. So, I could maybe guess at some of the things I need to correct, but I think those are going to show themselves over time, and I don't want to predetermine, we're not going to be good at this or we're going to be great at that. I'm going to kind of let it play out in front of me, and then I'll coach it in the moment as things, start to show up.
Any other questions? We'll go on my left to Casey Jacobson in the back row.
Coach Lloyd, Caleb Love has been one of the most talented players in college basketball over the last several years, but he's also been really inconsistent. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you thought of him before he transferred to your program and what you've seen from him since he's been in Tucson.
Well, obviously, he's got a lot of talent, and what he did at Carolina. I mean, people have. Maybe say there's inconsistent or inefficient or whatever you want to say. All I know is this. 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament, that dude had 30 points in an Elite Eight game and 28 in a Final Four game. So there's not many guys in the history of college basketball that can say they've done that. So, they didn't have a great year as a team last year, and he was part of it, and he owned it, and he and I have had amazing conversations about, how we can help him and how he can help us. And so I think we got him at the right time. And, I know, maybe he's been a little bit of a lightning rod because when you play at a place like Carolina and you're preseason number one and it doesn't work out, I mean, there's going to be some criticism that comes with that. He knows that. But he's someone that everyone in college basketball, media, fans should be rooting for. these young guys deserve multiple opportunities to be successful. I mean, you shouldn't be defined what happens 1 year at Carolina when your team's preseason #1, and there's a lot of things that go into it. So, I mean, for me, I know this. I'm always rooting for young people, and I can't wait for this to turn out to be a success story this year.
On my right to Cindy in the front row.
Morning, Coach. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Awesome. I want to talk about the evolution of Oumar Ballo. He has just been fantastic for you, and I want to know what your expectations are for him this season, particularly when it comes to leadership now that he's an upperclassman.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Big O, you guys will hear from him here in a second. I mean, he has a special place in my heart. I mean, this is a guy that, I knew he was going to be successful because he has amazing high character. And, he had to deal with some growing pains and some struggle, and he's come out on the other side. For me, the conversations, I've had with him, it's not so much statistical growth or anything like that, or, I'm sure he wants to add a three-point shot, but that's not as important to me, stuff like that. I just want to see him continue to grow as a basketball player, kind of in modern basketball, maybe so he can be successful outside of an Arizona setting and have a long, good career, because the game has changed for players like him, and maybe we're a little bit old school in the way we play and where we really value and reward guys like him. I don't know if other systems are doing that across the country and in basketball in general. But then you're right. It's the leadership, and he has that. He has so much potential there, and his leadership can be grounded in the fact that he's dealt with struggle and come through it. And, I think all these guys, these young players, struggle is part of their growth process. So to have somebody who's done it, come through the other side, I think he can be a great example for others, and especially within our program.
Piggybacking on that, Tommy, one thing that struck me in your 2 years at Arizona is player development, and how guys, you see them 1 year, they come back better the next. Everyone this time of year wants to talk about who's coming in, whether it's five-star high school kids, transfer portal guys. Talk about your off-season player development and who this year you think, is going to come back looking different than they did last year, not just Oumar.
Yeah, for me, one of the core tenets of our program is always going to be pushing the limits of individual player development. I think that's an important part of it, and we're 100% bought into that, and I think our players in our program feel that. At the end of last season, when you're going through everything and, you're figuring out what your roster is going to look like, I always slept good because I was banking on, these guys coming back being better. And I didn't even know who the incoming guys coming in with them were going to be, but I knew these guys come back. And I thought, man, if I have Kylan Boswell, Pella Larson, and Oumar Ballo coming back, and they all make the offseason jumps that guys make in our program, that's the foundation for a top 10 team right there. And so, yeah, I think those guys have made that jump, and I think we've added some really good pieces to it, and I'm excited. I think you're going to see, Pella is, you're going to hear from him in a second. Incredibly talented player. He's, there's no doubt in my mind he's an NBA talent. And I've always believed that, and he and I have had conversations about it. And I think, he's been finding his way in college basketball. In the last 2 years, he's been on really good teams with other good players, and he's unbelievable filling the gaps in for that. I think this is going to be an opportunity for him to kind of maybe be one of those kind of featured players, and he's ready for that moment.
Keshad Johnson's going to be an important part for you guys. Looking at your roster, what you lost from last year, specifically to Bellis, and what he brought to the table production-wise. Johnson gets to the national championship game last year at San Diego State. Talk about what he's brought and what he's going to bring to the table, not just from a number standpoint, but defensively too.
Well, Keys is an amazing person, and first off, I want to say that San Diego State did a great job with him, throughout the course of his career, and he really developed there because he started as kind of a guy that didn't play to, being a starter, and I've seen that growth continue. So he came in with a great foundation, and I'm thankful for that. But he's a very versatile player, and I don't want to just label him as a defensive player because I think he's really good at both sides of the ball. But defensively, he has an ability in the modern game that he switches. He could switch guard 1 through 5. He can pressure the basketball. He can cover up for mistakes, protect the rim. He's a force on the glass. Offensively, in our system, that kind of that four-man is in the middle of the action a lot. And I've really seen kind of his playmaking grow and his shooting grow. And, I'm excited for him to get an opportunity to kind of show that stuff.
All right, one more, Jesse.
Okay, back row on my left.
Hi, Dan Belwani. First of all, Tommy, congratulations on all your success. I mean, unbelievable. I'm just wondering, stylistically, over the summer, have you thought about any changes you might make? I know you're big. I know you have great guards. By the way, a pretty good combination. And I know you love to play fast. But have you thought, well, maybe I need to tweak it a little bit?
Well, I think we're going to walk the ball up and play in the 40s this year.
Yeah, I know you're not going to do that.
No, stylistically, I'm always looking to grow, and I think maybe you're going to see, some different layers that we're trying to add to our system, and maybe play a different way. And we had Tubelis at the 4, which I really like, having those two big guys out there. But I don't know if we'll have that predominantly as much as we did last year. So the floor might be opened up a little bit more in some spacing scenarios and some of our half court offense. But all in all, we have a system, and and I don't know if we recruit to it, play to it, whatever, but we're going to play fast, we're going to move the ball, we're going to play in ball screens. I'm going to be on the guys to make good decisions with the ball. We're going to have disciplined shot selection, but playing with freedom. I mean, all the same elements are going to be there. And defensively, we're continuing to grow there as well. I mean, the first year, I think we were a top 10 defense. Last year, it didn't feel like we were as good defensively, but we were kind of top 40 when you look analytically at it. And we know for us to be where we want to be as a program, we need to scratch and claw to be up in that top 10 defensive area, and I think we have the pieces to do that.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. We're going to bring your players in, Umar Ballo and Pelle
Thanks, Tommy.
Larson.
So I'm done, I'm out?
You're done?
That's it.
Thank you, guys. That's it.
As they come in, could you just give us a thought on why they're here for you?
Oh, for sure. Want me to sit down and do that? Okay. Well, these are kind of the two most experienced guys in our program right now, and they represent Arizona basketball well in every way, on and off the floor. And it wasn't a lot of thought didn't go into this one. It was an easy selection for these two guys to come, and these are two guys that have been great players for us, and they've played with other great players, and so I think I'm excited for them to kind of take the next step and be the featured guys, and I know they're ready for that challenge, and they're not going to disappoint.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you.